Jose went down to Puerto Rico right after Hurricane Maria, which was
By right after, you mean the first flight?
First flight out with no plan. He was just like, I gotta go. Maybe I can help in some way. He just has a huge heart. So he hopped on a plane. He knows a chef down there, met up with the chef. He realized, hey, there's food on this island. There's all these great chefs. Why don't we put two and two together? And they just started cooking, and we wired more money, and they bought more food and cooked more food. And it was always the idea of, hey, why don't we cook with the local community meals that have dignity associated with them?
Welcome to Sit Down and Show Up, a podcast about moving beyond how can I help and learning what it really means to care well for one another. Today's guest is my husband and Rallee co-founder, Kevin Holst. And Kevin's work has taken him into disaster relief with World Central Kitchen, counter trafficking with Agape International Missions, and social impact at Google. But this episode is really about the stories underneath all of that, the moments that shaped him, the people who changed him, the losses, the caregiving, the crises, and the real life experiences that taught him what care can really feel like when it's done with dignity and focus and intention. So today we're talking about those stories and what shaped how Kevin sees care and how those stories inform the heart of what we're building with Rallee. So Kev, we're in our dining room. We're drinking our coffee. What are you drinking and what mug are you drinking that out of?
I am drinking my third cup of coffee of the day, and I'm drinking it out of a mug that Parker, our son, got for Chrissy on Mother's Day 2 years ago. On that Mother's Day, both of our kids picked out an awesome mug for you because you love coffee and you love collecting mugs. This is a big tension point in our marriage. We have about 397 mugs, and
they all have a story.
We haven't used some of them for nearly 8 years, but it's so fun having all the mugs because they do have a story, each one of them.
They all have a story.
What about yours?
Mine is from one of my childhood best friends, Amy. She gave it to me when I was in college. It's got fall little leaves on it here because I love the fall. So perfect. It is. Okay. So Kev, I've known you since I was 12 years old. I've loved you since I was 12 years old. I had a huge fat crush on Kevin when I met him when I was in the 6th grade. And our first date was homecoming freshman year. We have a long childhood love story. And it is such a gift. But not everybody in the world has known you basically their whole life. So why don't you take us back to the beginning and share a little bit about you and your journey and your story?
Yeah, for sure. So grew up in a family with 2 sisters, older sisters, 5 years older, 7 years older, and my parents. My mom was a teacher all of her career, and my dad is a pastor still and has been a pastor or in ministry all of his career. So they had these careers that were about showing up for people in a ton of different ways. And that showed up in our home in many different ways too. But I always remember, if we're talking about sitting down and showing up for others, my family was really good at showing up for us when we were sick. And that culture even spread to my sisters too. I remember one Christmas Eve, I was super sick and my sister was home from college working part-time at a Denny's, and she got home at 2 a.m., something ridiculous. And she noticed that I was sick and she helped me so much during that experiences. And it's those moments that just sit with you and really are meaningful, moving on, and you remember how much those are helpful. And so I hope to be passing those down to our kids and making them feel loved even when stuff isn't going right. But, my experiences were with you very interesting because you were always really good talking about certain things. You got me to open up a lot. You got me to be vulnerable, and you asked really great questions, and you always knew what to say. Even when we were 15,
I don't know if that's true.
It's so true. Even when we were 15, you knew what to say when things weren't going right or what to ask. And I always admired that about you. And I hope that some of that you have showed me has rubbed off on me, and I'm a little bit better for it. But growing up,
Sweet.
If there was something going wrong or something happening, I never really knew what to say. And so you were a huge influence in my life in that regard.
That's really kind. Thanks, Kev.
It's true.
What is a time early on that you remember kind of the complexity of grief or of life or of changes and transitions that you looked around and felt ill-equipped with knowing exactly what to do?
Yeah.
And for the record, I do not know always what to do, but we all do our best. So, yeah, can you kind of like walk us through maybe one of those early experiences that you had where it was really clear care was needed?
Definitely. So the experience that comes to mind is 1 week after my 21st birthday, my childhood best friend, Steve, passed away in a skiing accident. So this was something that you have no idea that, this is coming. It's a moment that surprises you, that surprises everyone and shocks you. We had been friends, as long as I can remember, I think 4 years old. We were best friends. We have matching scars from lightsaber fighting on our thumbs when we were 8. So we had shared so many memories. And when he passed away, I remember going home from college to go to his funeral with you. Chrissy and I went to the same college for 3 years. And I remember there were just triggers of everything because we had so many memories.
Yeah.
And so seeing a convenience store, a 7-Eleven, there was a 7-Eleven near his house, and we would go there and get ices all the time. So even things like that, where you're just driving down the roads, the highway, going back to home from school, and there's all these trigger events where you just start bawling uncontrollably. Yeah. But again, I remember you being there for me and just your calming presence and your comforting presence, and knowing that I could be my whole self with you, that I could ugly cry like crazy with you in the car, and it's okay. And you crying too and sharing that experience with me because he was your great friend too was really significant.
Yeah. Steve was a wonderful, wonderful friend to both of us. I think that's so true, where around any corner when you're grieving, there can be reminders of that person, if it be a glimmer of like a good memory, or a little reminder that they're also not there. It's the two sides of the same coin. One of the things that was really, I think, contextually significant too is that we had a huge church community.
Yeah, for sure.
That Steve was brought up in, and we were friends at church. And the church that we had gone to had gone through a lot of losses, and Steve being the most, well, at the time, the most recent loss. Yeah. And I think there's something that happens in those communities when there's a shared loss, that those bonds are really, really tight. Yeah. And to this day, have a lot of great friends that we would have obviously been friends with either way, but those bonds feel pretty unbreakable because of those early shared experiences of navigating just a lot of complexity and sadness together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you grew up here in Northern California. Your mom was a teacher. Your dad was a pastor. 2 older sisters.
Yep.
Great group of friends. Had experienced some pretty significant loss along the way. Where does your story go from there?
Well, then we graduate from college. You and I go to DC with no money, like half of a car. Our transmission was breaking, but we still decided to drive our car across the United States from Sacramento to DC. And we went out there really for an adventure. You had your background check being processed, which they said could take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. So it was a very big window. It was a risk, and it was a big adventure that we decided to embark on going to DC. And after my junior year, I realized I really wanted to do something with social impact. And I didn't know what that was exactly, but I was able to experience a handful of awesome social impact experiences out in DC by just getting my feet wet. And I jumped in to the nonprofit space with a local nonprofit called Community Family Life Services, which is a great nonprofit that helps unhoused people get back on their feet, gives them skills, training, housing, a bunch of different great resources for them. And my dream was to work at this place called World Central Kitchen. It's this organization that was very young at the time. This chef, Jose Andres, started it. He had a few restaurants out in DC, and he was this very gregarious chef.
That's a good word for him.
A lot of energy. He himself is a hurricane of energy. But I had applied as an intern there, and I was so pumped, and I didn't get it. And so I moved on from that and started working at Georgetown Law School in the nonprofit donor relations department, which was not my jam. And I ended up getting a job at World Central Kitchen eventually, which was incredible. I studied food science and nutrition in college, but realized I didn't want to do anything with food science, be in a lab. I love people. I wanted to be with people, and I wanted to do social impact. So this was food and social impact.
Which was literally your dream.
Absolutely. And we did the coolest ways of fundraising at the time. We did these events called Dine and Dash.
Walk them through Dine and Dash.
Yeah.
Explain what that is.
We'd shut down 30 of the top restaurants in DC, including Jose's, and you get a wristband and you go throughout the city just walking into them and eating and drinking a fixed menu. And
it was basically like a neighborhood-wide party.
It was incredible. It was so fun. We had guys on stilts. We had bands at nearly every restaurant. It was dope. And an after party with celebrity chefs, great bands. It was really fun. So that was World Central Kitchen. When I was there, was this organization that used food to empower people after disasters, after all the relief has gone away. So Jose started this in 2010 after the earthquake in Haiti, devastating earthquake. And he realized, hey, we can use food as a tool for empowerment for these communities. And we can do that after all the disaster relief organizations have left. We can be here for the long term and help the community by partnering with the community, partnering with culinary schools, partnering with organizations in Haiti, and not just parachuting in and then coming out. And partnering with them for the long term to give them these empowering skills. But then in 2017, Jose went down to Puerto Rico right after Hurricane Maria, which was
by right after you mean the first flight.
First flight out with no plan. He was just like, I gotta go. Maybe I can help in some way. He just has a huge heart.
Yeah.
So he hopped on a plane. He knows a chef down there, met up with the chef. He realized, hey, there's food on this island. There's all these great chefs. Why don't we put two and two together? And the chefs started cooking for the local communities that were affected by the hurricane. And they were super scrappy.
Yeah.
And they just started cooking and we wired more money and they bought more food and cooked more food. And it was always the idea of, hey, why don't we cook with the local community meals that have dignity associated with them. So let's cook the Puerto Rican national dishes. Let's cook meals where these people feel loved, they feel cared for, they're nourished, of course, but food can really transport you.
Yeah.
Right? It can make you feel at home. It can make you feel like you have humanity. It makes you feel like you have community. You're doing this with other people. So it's a powerful vehicle for care. And Jose really understood that. And I think chefs are just such an incredible incredibly resilient group of people. They deal with disasters on every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Something goes wrong in the kitchen. They're working with, different variables every night. So they're an amazing group to be doing disaster relief, especially in this incredibly scrappy way where they're some of the first people on the ground now. World Central Kitchen has scaled dramatically since then, become one of the biggest disaster relief organizations in the entire world, with that ethos of, hey, let's be one of the first, if not the first people on the ground to get these communities meals, because we know how to do that really well and without a lot of bureaucracy.
What was that time like for you personally, Kev, when Hurricane Maria hit? And what was going on in your life?
Yeah.
And how did you rise to the occasion? Because you had a lot of responsibility on your shoulders during that season. So what did that look like for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what I didn't mention is 2017, October, was also the birth of our son.
Mm-hmm.
So you had gone through a really tough pregnancy with him, a lot of health complications. And so we were ready for him to come.
To put it lightly.
Yeah. But when he did come, and on the day that he was born with meconium aspiration. So he came out not breathing and not moving. And I still remember that picture today of him. Thankfully, they got him to breathe really quickly. And
shout out to Georgetown Hospital, NICU.
Incredible people. And they put him in the NICU to monitor him and support him. And I remember having to leave the room that you were in.
Yep. And
you were there and they were helping you post delivery. And I went in with Parker and just completely losing it, just bawling uncontrollably. And I remember one of the doctors who was, I think he was the head of the department. Yeah. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey, it's going to be okay. He's going to be okay." Like we got him to breathe. Like the logical thing was like, hey, we did our job. He's breathing now. All signs are he's going to be healthy. And thank God he is healthy today.
Yeah, we got you.
Exactly. But from an emotional perspective, I was like, I can't fully comprehend that right now because what I just saw wasn't right.
Yep.
And then just shifting into, the doctors did an incredible job really quickly. I was still in a completely uncontrollable emotional state.
Yeah.
And I remember that night getting Starbucks for us.
Yeah.
And there's a Starbucks like 100 feet away from the hospital in that complex. And I go in and I look like a hot mess. And I go in and one of the baristas looked at me. I ordered our coffees and the barista looked at me and she said, "I think you need a chocolate cake." And she got a chocolate cake out and gave it to me for free. And I remember that experience still. It's a very meaningful experience, but it's so small. That chocolate cake, their stock price did not go down that day because they gave me a free chocolate cake. But the story that I tell now is that love and that care from that barista who saw me didn't have an ounce of tears left in my body to shed. It had all been gone, and she saw that in me. And so this small act was a giant moment where I felt cared for and loved.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like something so small can go so far.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
In those moments. And that's huge.
It's that moment and more. I think you, again, have helped me understand this, but when people are hurting or when people need you, when people need a friend in whatever way, maybe that's something bad going on in their life, but also maybe that's something where they could use an encouragement, just like, "Hey, you're doing a great job." Keeping that inside because you're afraid of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing is always a mistake, I think. Like you always just have to put yourself out there and do something.
Yeah.
And I think people are good at different types of care. Some people are great with words. I think you're incredible with words and actions. You're kind of this whole package here. But I am getting better at just saying, hey, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm praying for you. Whatever it is, something small, because I feel like I was always not, I always didn't have the right words to say in those experiences. So I would just say nothing. And I would do nothing. Now I show up. Now I send a text. Now I say something. I'll give a chocolate cake.
You give the chocolate cake.
Yeah.
you know how much it means. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
It doesn't need to be the perfect chocolate cake. It just needs to be chocolate
Not a great
cake.
baker, but I'll do it.
So thinking about care in those kind of macro senses and micro senses, like in our own personal life, we were going through a crisis. Parker was in the NICU.
Sure.
Parker's fine, by the way. Parker's great. Parker
Healthy,
is 8.5 years
crushing
old. He's full blown thriving kid.
Yeah.
But during that time, you also were one of how many employees at World Central Kitchen?
We were tiny, 3 employees. It was
3
me, an executive
employees.
director and a development coordinator. Yeah, 3 employees in the U.S. Then we had some staff in Haiti for our culinary school and other operations.
Okay. And can you give us a sense of like how much you grew overnight?
Yeah. So we were very small. We had 0 volunteers
Yeah.
at the time because we didn't do this. And then during those 3 months or so, 2 months, 2 to 3 months, we became the largest meal producers on the island. We had activated 20,000 volunteers. We served 3.5 million meals, got a bunch of chefs involved, got a bunch of people involved, got just an enormous amount of donations came in because Jose, again, was the first person on the island. And the support came later from those big organizations. But with Jose's way of doing things, he just realized that, hey, we can start serving people meals now. And so it caught the attention of the media. And when that happened, then donations came in. Granted, donations came in much later than Jose needed them sometimes. So Jose would say, hey, we're going to serve 100,000 meals tomorrow. And he would post that on Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter. And we didn't have a lot of money in the bank in order to fund those meals. And so it was an incredible feat of just resilience and getting after it on his account. And we were there to support.
Yeah. So following that, working through kind of your journey, following our time in DC, where did life take you? Where did you go?
Yeah, so we moved back to Northern California to be closer to the fam. Parker was 6 months old at this point, and we were living in a 498 square foot apartment in DC.
It was plenty big. It was fine.
It was tiny to be a young family. 3 floors of stairs, no elevator for you carrying Parker up while I was at work was impressive, to say the least. But we moved back to be closer to family. And when we moved back, I got a job at Agape International Missions, which does incredible work by, again, amazing founders who sold everything 4 times for various causes in their life. And a handful of those times was for AIM. And what they do is they help rescue, restore, reintegrate survivors of human trafficking and also help prevent it. And they realized these 4 pillars of anti-human trafficking by just getting their feet wet and getting started. Again, they just took action. They just went out to Cambodia and were like, hey, this is a problem, so let's try to do something. And they started with a restoration home. After the girls get rescued, then they can go back into their environment a lot of times because it might be the environment that they were actually, that the people who were in their environment sold them into trafficking. So it may not be the safest environment for them. So the restoration home provided great counseling, provided community, provided great care. And then they realized afterwards they also need jobs. So then the reintegration took place where AIM would provide them with jobs. And actually, a lot of the people working on the social care side of the rescue team are survivors of trafficking. So it's really amazing. Again, resilient, incredibly strong women who are full of love.
Yeah.
Come out of this situation, and then they go back and work for AIM. So they're the first person that these girls see after they get rescued. They see this girl, and they can have that experience of the social care and the experience that they've had kind of go into the love and the care and the support and the resourcing that is needed in those situations.
Wow. Such impactful, meaningful work that you did there and that you got to be a part of. Can you tell us about somebody that you met or some experience that you had that made a lasting impact on you in the way that you understand care?
Yeah. So one experience was when I was in Cambodia. It was my first trip out there. And I had been working there for a handful of months and seen stories and videos, and it's different when you are witnessing big things from afar. You're witnessing these really intense situations from afar, reading about them, versus you're there and you're in the situations, or you're experiencing the same environments that you read about. And so we were at our kids club, and one of the girls who was in our kids club, a kid, was trafficked at the time. So she hadn't shown up for a few days, and our staff learned that she had been trafficked. And I just remember crying uncontrollably on our country director's shoulders. The kids are singing worship music at the time. And I'm just crying uncontrollably on our country director's shoulders, because I realized, gosh, this is, we're doing so much here, and there's so much love going into these kids. There's so much care. And then something like this happens, it just devastates you. And thankfully, that girl was rescued out of her situation, and she got the care that the girls get after they get rescued, which was incredible. But it is really hard to hear about and be there and realize that this is happening at this moment to girls just like that girl over there at the kids club.
How did you not lose hope in the midst of seeing such devastating realities of the cycles of abuse, of the compounding impact of this kind of trauma, of all of the failures that lead up to this situation being a reality for a lot of these girls?
Yeah, I borrowed a lot of love from the founders, from Don and Bridget. If they weren't there spearheading these initiatives, I probably wouldn't have been there as long, honestly. They had been doing this for over a decade. And Don, the founder, always said that his human tank of love empties out around 9 a.m. because that's all that he can muster. It's very hard work. And he found his strength and his love from God and the love that Jesus had gave him. And so he borrowed that from Jesus. I would say I tried, but also borrowed it from Don and Bridget. They never got compassion fatigue. They never felt like this work was just too hard, so we're just going to give up. They always kept fighting. They always kept doing whatever it took. I mean, Don, they did not sleep that much.
Yeah,
they worked a lot, and for the sake of these girls. And not everyone can do that. And I'm not saying that you as a nonprofit director, you just shouldn't sleep and get after it all the time. That's not sustainable for a lot of people. But they were just incredible with how they loved people unconditionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So in your own personal life, when you were at AIM And later, when you moved over to Google and we're living here in California, you experienced, and our family experienced, a lot of challenges. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that shaped you amidst your work and how you think about care and layered care and holistic care? And can you speak a little bit to that?
Definitely. Yeah, it is weird looking back, though, at all of these experiences and realizing there's a lot going on in our lives that may be a bit of a map towards a certain place. And I feel like that is us with Rallee.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I would have never thought that we would be here, founders of Rallee, this amazing social impact company, with all of our different experiences, both personally and on the career side. So a handful of years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And at the time I was working at Google. I had left AIM, was working at Google. I was traveling a lot for that job, as you know. She was a champ during that time. She was also working.
I have some thoughts, but I won't share. I won't share here.
Emery was very young, our second kid. But she was diagnosed with cancer. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. And it was a 7-month journey. She had surgery in the midst of it. And it was a really intense experience. There was a lot going on that year. We had another friend get diagnosed with cancer who is our age, which is really tough. And then some hard work stuff, some hard stuff at home. It was just a really intense year, and it was really tough. And when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, though, she wanted a platform to share her health updates and get care as needed. My dad was really the primary caregiver in the family. He was incredible during that time. It was really cool to see him show up for her every morning, day, night, middle of the night, whatever was needed. Every chemo appointment, he was there. And so we started Rallee because of her. It was an idea that we had for a while. I was tinkering on it for a bit, but we realized, hey, this could be really helpful for her during this time. And we thought there was going to be maybe 10 people, 15 people in her Rallee, and there were 150 people in her Rallee, supporting her, giving her encouragement, posting pictures and great memories of them together. And people gave her gifts, meals, the whole shebang. And it was incredible to see. But that experience as a family was also really meaningful because it really brought us closer together. It was a really hard experience for my mom. She's super tough and she's in remission now, thank God. But the conversations that we had during that time, the closeness that we got together was really unmatched.
Yeah. One of the things that was really special about Sarah's Rallee was she is the queen of red lipstick. So like she looks fire in red lipstick. Yeah. She's so beautiful. And she is one of those people that walks into a room and just lights it up with joy.
Yeah, 100%.
She was a second grade teacher for years and her heart is just huge. So anyways, everybody loves Sarah and her red signature lipstick, and a tradition that began on her Rallee, which anybody navigating cancer who loves a red lip, you can borrow from this, but was everybody in kind of camaraderie with Sarah. All of the women on her chemo days would wear red lipstick, and we would take selfies and post them to her Rallee with a prayer or a line of encouragement or just a simple like thinking of you, with you in this, you're a warrior, we love you. And to this day, she wears her red lipstick, and I'm pretty sure everybody in our community, if you rock a red lip, you're thinking of Sarah.
That's right.
She's just a boss, but that was a special kind of tradition that carried with her throughout that entire 7-month journey with cancer. So, and she has since also had another bout of
Yeah.
unrelated cancer and again in remission.
Yeah.
So she is
Damn.
so tough. Inspiration for both of us
Absolutely.
on so many levels. So here we are today. You are working on Rallee full time. We are living in Northern California. What season are you in right now? What would you characterize this chapter like, Kev? And what are some things that are hard and good and happy and bright right now?
Yeah. Quitting Google was a really big decision for me and us. It was, that was also one of my dream jobs. Social impact partnership role at Google was the top of my list of dream jobs. But what I realized is I'm really meant to be in, I feel like I was put on this earth to build and create things. And we had this idea, you had this idea that we could implement that needed to exist in the world. And so quitting and doing Rallee full time has been the best experience of all time, of my entire life. And right now we're in this stage of Rallies are going really well for people that are using them for a variety of different reasons. We've had a lot of health challenges. People show up for their friends, for their family during health challenges. And what we've seen is the way that we've built it. It's really cool because people who just want updates can just do updates. They can just share about their health challenge updates going on. If they want gifts, if they want donations, if they want meals, if they want rides to the hospital, if they want errands run, they can do that. But my favorite thing about Rallee is seeing people show up for others and get care in those customizable ways, because these challenges are so complex. These situations are so complex, and people want different things. Some people really want community to come by around them. Maybe their situation, their diagnosis doesn't allow for that. So they need a forum to update people. And that's all they want. So it's been really cool to see the personalization of care go on at Rallee.
Yeah. And I think right now in this next chapter, us figuring out exactly how to scale Rallee also through organizations having access to Rallee, if it be churches or other organizations. So we're dreaming big.
Yeah,
that's this chapter, I think, is dreaming big and scaling impact. And it's just such a joy doing it with you.
100%.
And I'm so proud of you, of our work together, of our journey together. I love that I've gotten to know you for 25 years. That makes me feel really old.
We just had our 15-year wedding anniversary last month.
We went to a ropes course and it was epic. It was pretty epic. Okay, well, this has been the latest episode of Sit Down and Show Up with Kevin Holst, the love of my life, Rallee co-founder, absolute dreamboat. Suggest watching this on YouTube. Thank you for listening, and until next time.